So my first question for you is, as we know, the Iran supreme leader has been killed. So what is next for Iran? What will the political situation look like, and who will be the new leader?
See, this is something which Iran could never have anticipated. They knew it that US can do that, but they would do it at such an early stage. I think they were completely could not believe that. Repercussion is going to be that the first repercussion would be the entire Iranian forces, from opposition to rebellion forces to modernists to anti-regime, they will get united. They have no other option. Second thing, there will be no scope for any negotiation because US and Israel have done something because they have not killed simply a political leader. They have killed a kind of cult figure. They have killed someone who represented the revolution. They have killed someone who represented the entire Shiite philosophy. So now for the Iran, nothing is left when it comes to political negotiation. Now this is a kind of existential war for them. Because in losing Khamenei, they have lost their political rhetoric for the last 45 years. They have lost someone who could stand to US and Israel for last 30 years since he became the spiritual leader, Ali Khamenei. And the last but not the least, this is going to be a major challenge to the Sunni world because they have now something to tell to the Sunni world. See, we have sacrificed our leaders, we have sacrificed our revolutionary leader, we have sacrificed our scientists, we have sacrificed our political leaders. What you have done? So entire the Iran which we had imagined that its position has declined, its situation as a major geopolitical power has subdued. Now again it will give a kind of resurrection. It will give a kind of new reputation to Iran. It will give a kind of new position to Iran in the region. And that is how I see. And one more thing, I think what will happen, this entire rhetoric of, this Iran was divided, Iran was, facing a kind of political division, Iran was facing a kind of oppression against women. I think entire discourse will lose its relevance. Now there will be only one discourse. I think Western forces, including Iran, including Israel and US, they have killed our leaders and we have to revenge it. Now the politics of vendetta will be the real course of action, and they have already started and they have already manifested in targeting 6 to 7 to 8 countries, from Bahrain to Kuwait to Qatar to Saudi Arabia and to UAE and all these things. And now the bombarding has started intensely. So we have already seen the situation. We have already seen the manifestation of the anger of people, anger of regime on the street.
So, what you're trying to say is that this situation, instead of de-escalating the situation, it will lead to escalation of war in the Middle East and create further tensions. Could you please elaborate?
Yeah, of course, because I mean to say, now the US and Israel has stopped any scope, any door for negotiation, because something which Iranians were expecting that would come at the later stage, they have begun their war by finishing Ali Khamenei. So now the entire region will go into chaos and anarchy. While I am saying that, because Iran has been telling repeatedly since the US started, talking about war, we will not leave your any air bases unattended. And they have done this. They did in June also, or this time they had done at a much larger scale. So what I mean to say, that entire region will be engulfed into a series of war, into a wave of war, and that will be very difficult to contain, because we have seen how the global institution has worked. In the case of Gaza, we have seen no institution like UN to OIC to Arab League to European Union, everything has exposed its weakness, and I think the world knows it very well. These institutions have become quite defunct. Now what is going to happen, a new kind of regional order would emerge, where that will be completely, laden with clash, violence and conflict, where two major power, the Iran, which was completely subsided in the last 2 years after the Gaza war, again they will have the opportunity to resurrect. There will be new kind of emotional politics, sentimental politics. Now we can see the militia that the world has completely written off, like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Houthis. They have already started coming on the road, and they have told very categorically, if something happens to Khamenei, we cannot sit idly. Even the Hezbollah Even last week, they had expressed they will, if Iran is attacked, we will not join the war. But the moment anything happens to Khamenei, we'll be left with no option but to join it. In that way, I am saying the whole region is going to face a completely chaotic situation, and that will be a kind of unending. And these countries, particularly Gulf countries, they are going to face the music because there is a general perception, there is a general leading among the Iranian establishment. These people, these countries, Gulf countries, these wealthy countries have brought the America inside. They have created a kind of security architecture where America and Israel has a major role to play, and that has been the basic point of contention between Iran and the rest of the Gulf countries. Do not give any space to America, do not give any space to Israel, because they are the destabilizing forces. And now today they have proved that we were right when we kept on telling the Gulf countries these two countries should be kept away from the internal security architecture of the Arab world. But instead of giving some kind of space to Iran, these countries, Gulf countries, have forced tie with Israel in the form of Abraham Accord. UAE is the part of Abraham Accord. Bahrain is a part of Abraham Accord. Qatar is very close. Saudi was almost on the verge of signing a diplomatic tie with Israel. So now I think the new kind of discourse will emerge, new kind of debate will emerge, where Iran will be in driving seat. Despite losing this leader, losing its political weightage, still now I think they will emerge as a major player, and there will be more and more confrontation, more and more violence, more and more conflict. Or in that conflict, I think Iran-led militia is going to play a very, very major role. It will be very difficult to contain them because as of now Iran has nothing to lose. When they have lost their leader, when they have lost their, nuclear program, they are being asked. Now the ballistic missile, they are being asked to, stop this program. So what Iran will think of it, how they can, as a sovereign nation, as a, politically a sovereign country, an independent country. So now I think it is a situation for them, do or die. It is a completely existential threat for them. It is a question of existence for them, I think.
Understood, sir. That was very detailed. Thank you. My next question for you is, who can be the next leader in Iran? Are there several candidates, or is there a certain possibility?
See, I think for the many years since for the last 5 years, there has been a lot of speculation about who is going to succeed Khamenei. I think till now what we have been hearing, there is an elaborate system in the constitution. If any leaders dies or there is any political vacuum, they will elect someone who on about around whom there is a consensus. What I'm hearing that his Khamenei's son is the most probable candidate. He is likely to take over, but there are internal opposition because he is the one who doesn't have a particular degree from a religious seminary that Ali Khamenei had, that the founder of the revolution, Mr. Khomeini, used to have. That these are the issue which will really create a problem. Larijani was supposed to be very close to Khamenei during his last year, but there are problem, there are issue. I mean, you cannot be leader if you are not Iranian. Larijani is by birth an Iraqi, and he doesn't have any seminary degree. So I think it will take time to decide. But before last week, I think Khamenei has called a very high-level meeting, and he assigned certain job to certain, some of his close advisors. Like Larijani was asked to look after the country during the war, and he assigned certain thing to his Speaker of the Parliament. So I think there are two or three people in the race: Khamenei, Ali Khamenei grandson, Khamenei's son, and the Speaker of the Parliament. These are 3 or 4 prominent figures that are surfacing in a race to take over Ali Khamenei, but I think still they are not quite sure. They will have to first overcome these shocks. I think it is the biggest shock of of this century, 21st century. I think they have lost many leaders. They have lost Qasim Soleimani. They have lost Hania. They have lost revolutionary. They have lost IRGC head. But this loss is something which I think will take decades to forget to overcome. So till now, I think they would be thinking, but still they have not come out with a certain final name. But I think they must be pondering, they must be discussing, they must be consulting with each other because they are also different lobby, different group, different faction group. But most probably, I think it is Ali Khamenei's son who might take over.
So US won't be able to change the regime or the political party as of now, according to you?
See, regime change has been the objective of Israel and US for a long time. We have been hearing for the last 30 years. And I think the kind of model they applied in Iraq they are trying to apply the same model in Iran. But Iran is different. Iran is different for many reasons. Unlike Iraq, Iran is a homogeneous society. Unlike Iraq, Iran doesn't have any big internal enemy like Saddam used to have in form of Kurds, in form of Sunni, in form of Shia, sorry. Iran is a very homogeneous society. Iran is a very old society. Or the kind of nationalism is entrenched in Iranian society that is unparalleled. And one more thing, what US has done by assassinating Ali Khamenei, it has further injected a kind of nationalist sentiment or any regime. I think it will be very difficult unless you go for a ground war. And I think given the situation, given the past experience that Iran had seen, US has seen in Iraq, US has seen in Afghanistan, they will not dare to go for the ground operation. And for any regime change, ground operation is the prior condition. And in going for ground operation, they will have to face many enemies apart from Iranian professional army. They have the IRGC, they have the Basiji, they have the militia, they have the Iraqi militia. They are waiting for the forces to come. They have forces in Syria, they have Hezbollah, they have Houthis. So I think unless and until US choose to go for ground operation, they cannot do the regime change. Or if they go going for the ground operation, I think they have the bitter experience of Libya and Afghanistan and Iraq. So I think it will take time. Though they have killed the symbol of the regime, but it doesn't mean for them. I think the regime will survive. If US really had decided to change the regime, then it is going to be a prolonged war, but it would not be as easy as it was in the case of Iraq.